If you have the Reformer Athletic Pilates Volume 1 Upper Body, go ahead and grab that now. If you don't have it, just follow along. What I want to do is bring to life the exercises from the books and then show you the descriptions of the variations and maybe some additional if I come up with them today. So in the back section, I'm going to start with pull-up kneeling short box. Now there's a lot of different variations you can do with this exercise. I'm going to show you, I'm just going to keep it on a yellow spring just so I can kind of go slow and explain it. But when you're doing more strength, you can build it up. So it's shown kneeling, and I'll show you a variation that's from the standard that's from the book. Now, to get, I need to undo these, sorry. So to get the reformer to the shoulder rest and bring it to you, I'll just say grab the rope and then pull it. That's the best way to get to it. So once you've got that there, I'm going to sit back in the hips, engage my core, organize my shoulders, and simply row. As you start building strength and you start really feeling that you understand this movement, you can add some spring tension. The other option for the hand position is thumb on the top, hands on the side, which is actually my preference. I've seen them done both ways. I have students that prefer. You can also do single arm, close the chain by putting both on one, and I'm spotting with my right, and I'm pulling with my left, and I'll show you camera side. Pull with my right, spot with my left. If I need a greater range, a stable base, just take my knees wide and then touch my feet together. And then here is what we just covered with wider. You can also do single arm with one hand on the frame. So there is kneeling. You can also extend one leg back and do opposite. So I'm going to take my left arm off and pull. It's a really great challenge. To keep the hips square is a challenge too. I'll show you switch. So you can play around with that. Let me show you with one leg in the well. I'm going to place it up against, so it's going to be like a kneeling lunge variation, and I'm going to pull it to me. And I'm going to do a row there, both on one shoulder rest, one on the frame. I'm going to switch legs. So the great thing about doing the pulls from the back of the reformer is there are so many different options for the students that you just play around with it. One thing, let me take these off. That's another thing you can do is if students prefer to hold the pegs, they can do that. It's totally up to you and your students. Let me look and see if there's any variations while I'm kneeling. No, so let me show you some standing variations. So I'm going to start outside the carriage with my shins against it. And based on your reformer height is going to dictate where your legs are going to hit. If for any reason the student feels uncomfortable with their knee leveraged against the reformer, put a pad. I will take an ab mat, put it up against that, and that's very comfortable. So I'll demo with the ab mat, sitting back in the hips. Same hand positions. Cross the arm. I forgot to show you that one. So I'll show you this camera side, or the opposite, so you can see that. I'm going to pull primary left, spot right. I'm going to pull same side, and then I'm going to pull opposite. That's the one I didn't show you. Switch to opposite, so you can see that. So there's tons. It's not in the book, but you can, and I do this in my classes, I can add a lat pull and then a row, and then I can combo those movements. Reversing. Isn't that nice? Let's see what else we got where I'm standing out. All right, so I'm going to show you standing in, and we got those. Move the pad away. Placing the calves against the frame on the inside. Grab this guy, bring it to you. All right, same thing you can do. I'll show you where we just started, finished the last one. You can row, straighten up, and back down, or start straight arms, drop down, and press out. Just make sure when you drop down, it's not from the spine, it's from the hips. Both arms one side, same side single arm, opposite side single arm with rotation. It's the one nice thing about having the hand on the opposite shoulder rest. Taking the leg behind you into a lunge position adds a nice level of balance too. I'll show you the same arm positions. That feels really good. And I love doing the lunge because I get a lot of lower extremity burn, especially with that rotation series. So there's some variations. I have done it with students where I've sat them on the platform. If you have the, it's called Add a Platform from Balance Buddy, you put it right here and you can sit them there. It's kind of a nice option too. If you don't have the Add a Platform, but you do have the Cadillac platform, the long one, you can also set it there. Just lift the swivel pulleys up a little bit. It's nice. I'll go ahead and show it to you. It's nice. Let me step off camera to grab that platform. It's nice for beginner students. I teach a method class for intro. So before I want to get them into all the different positions I just showed you, I want them just to focus on form. So here is the Cadillac platform. Sitting on it. There's the row, row up, down, single arm, camera side, single arm with rotation. More advanced state, since we're stable, take the arm out and reach it up. So play around with those. That's the Cadillac platform. The ADA platform from Balance Body is this guy, and it fits nicely on there as well. It's a little bit more comfortable just because it's cushy. This way, always under. There is a security strap I didn't put on, but you'll want that security strap just to be safe. So you can see the different possibilities there for using the back of the reformer for rowing. That's pretty much everything from that exercise. Let me go to the next one. And what I want you to do with these is either, you'll hear me say, either start at a low level and work the students up. If you want to do athletic, my goal is anytime I'm going to do strength, I want to stabilize it to a level. What I don't want is to take an exercise, add such a level of strength, and then like the standing lunge variation, and then put a destabilized body because I'm going to torque in the spine. If you're doing medium resistance, I don't consider that strength per se. That's totally fine. Light to medium on most of those. If I were to do one of those strong, I would secure that at a platform so it doesn't move, and I would pull. And I would do the full movement on a heavy sprig. So I'm demoing on a yellow. When I do that personally, I'll work up to a couple red, maybe a red and a yellow, and really work. And it is a burner because you have to hold that row as you straighten up or do the opposite direction. The next exercise is advanced, super advanced, standing, rowing, facing back. So there's a lot you can do with this. I'm going to show you the setup that I use with the short box and the Hooked on Pilates Minimax Arc. It's up to you how you want to set your students up. So I just recently did a video, maybe a week or two ago, that showed the standing variation of this setup, single leg. But I'll show you real quick what's in the book since we're really detailing that out. So let's go ahead and put the handles on. This can be done with handles, straps. I'll just show you. If you're going to do straps, whenever you see in the book a hammer hold, that's the straps, and that's holding like this. So it'd be a row like that. So let me grab the handles. And you'll notice in all of my videos, I use the Elements by Momentum World's oversized large handles, and they're perfect for a man's hand because I used to get chafing and rubbing on the side of my hand because I have large hands from the standard ones that come with the reformer. So if you have guys, the grip's better because it's a larger roll handle as well. So let me just quickly show you the sitting variation, come to sitting up and then standing in the squat. So it's called standing row facing back. You want to make sure that your students feel confident. So if I have a student doing this, actually I'm going to go a little heavier on this since we're rowing. I want the assistance from that. So if you have, let's say, 2 students that are advanced and can do this standing, I still prop them. I want this as a safety mechanism in case they lose, they've got this. And it also makes them feel less uncomfortable coming up. So if you have an intermediate student that's working their way to advance, this is something I would definitely do. So you can start your students let me tighten those swivel pulleys. I forgot I did it for the platform series I showed you. So start them sitting, then come to a seated hover, and then get a little higher if you want. In the book, it's shown in a bent flex forward position at the knees and hips. So here it is. Make sure your straps are even. This one's off just a tiny bit. There we go. So here's basic rowing, sitting. I'm going to come up to standing, and then I'm going to squat back. And I'm going to give myself a little bit more range of motion there. There we go. So I can use the counterweight. So because I know that that is behind me, I have that safety mechanism, and the fear decreases immensely with students. So you can do it sitting, hovered, or fully standing. And what I talked about earlier is single leg, which is putting one leg on the Minimax and standing single leg. Believe it or not, it's more than 50% more stable than both legs. I know it looks like, wow, he's standing on one leg. I assure you it's much easier with that than the standing variation. So a lot of the variations in the book is just changing and doing seesaw arms. So a seesaw arm would be moving at the same, transition at the center. Alternating would be one, then the other. Single arm, obviously. Changing to underhand, overhand, elbows wide. I'll show you from the up position, all of those. So the seesaw is a challenge to get them right. And here is alternating. So there's a nice pause versus the seesaw. I want them to move instead of just single. So standing double arm rows, underhand wide, so it becomes more of a high to low row. Palm face up, underhand row. Coming to the squat position, showing you those. Let me show you one thing that isn't in the book for doing the seesaw arms. Actually, I don't have it in this room, but if you have a hooked on Pilates handy band, you hook one over it and you do them alternating. It's a really great burn. That's definitely something you'll see in one of my full-length classes. And that's actually that's the last variation in this, is using the handy band and doing seesaw arms with one strap, rope arm, and one handy band arm. I'm going to show you, we'll cover three. I'll show you one last one. So it's a short box. I'll demo on a yellow. Put the headrest down, swivel pulleys are down. Wanting to choke the straps up. So getting to a position, and I'm going to put the foot bar down so it's out of the way. There's a couple leg positions you can do. You can do the stable variation, with one leg on, and I'll show you the leg position before we do the exercise. So one forearm on. So I'm going to consider this a stable variation because I have the lower leg, it has a lot more contact. I'm going to take and destabilize it a little bit, but still my leg is on and the back leg is back, so that's even less stable, but not as unstable as leg stacked. It's shown in the book, leg stacked, and please make sure whatever you use with your students is appropriate. So how do I get ready? I want it taut. So that means I'm going to take this guy over the shoulder rest once and then check it out. I still want a little bit more. So then I'm going to go ahead and loop it once around the shoulder rest, make sure it doesn't slide under like I did, and then once around the peg. And that ought to get me the range of motion I want. There we go. I need to go under. It's more comfortable now. It's fine. All right. So arm is straight. Energy out the legs. I'll show you stable first. You can go all the way over as long as you're slightly in front. You can change the hand position to under, which is, I think, is what's in the book. If this is too heavy for somebody, please make sure you change it to a handy band. Straight arm up with the legs scissored. If you need to modify it, I'll show you both legs stacked. You can do the tricep variation. and then straight arm down. Just make sure your rib isn't sagging, so you're really lifting out that shoulder. Or you can go up, straight, and then lower down by bending and then coming back. So you can play around with those different leg positions. Demoing on a yellow is actually very heavy. If you have the Revo bar, you can adjust it out too. It'll decrease the amount of spring tension of the pull. Actually, I think it's important to show you. So let me grab a handy band. Let me step off camera for a second. If you have students in class that want to do this, but they don't have the strength to even do a yellow, this is a really great option. I just grabbed one off the wall, so I have to check this out. But if I have to alter it, you'll see how easy it is to adjust. Let me get on here. I'm going to undo all this, drop that, then pick it back up. Make sure the box is on, getting down in position. So this is the peach. I would call this like a peach color. And you'll see how much easier that is. So that's a nice option. If you're going to add arm circles to this, add some, I'm going to show you in front of me. And over and back. So you can play around with leg choreography with the arm. And the handy bands are wonderful. If you've seen the other videos I've done, this is how easy it is to change them. Student says, hey, that's a little too tight. My arm is not that long. All of a sudden, I've just added 3 inches to it in a matter of a second without having to, the old days of twisting and tightening. So these are wonderful. It's great for that exercise. You'll see if you have the athletic workbook, you'll see this exercise flipped around. So let me show you that. And then we'll complete this. I'll show you with this. So you just flip it around here, and then you can do shoulder. So that's with the handy band, right? You can do it with the strap or the rope as well. So have fun playing with the different variations of those back exercises. The rowing from the back, the more advanced standing rowing, and finishing with side lying variations of lats. Thanks for watching.